You got a raise, and life got better for about 3 months. Then it just became normal, and now you need the next raise to feel okay again. I'm Max of Monkey Money. What you just described is the lifestyle upgrade trap, and today we're going to explain exactly why it never ends and what it actually takes to get out of it. The lifestyle upgrade trap is not a willpower problem. Most people who fall into it are disciplined, hardworking, and genuinely intend to save more money as their income increases. The trap persists despite those intentions because it's driven by mechanisms that operate below the level of conscious decision-making. And understanding those mechanisms is the only way to actually defeat them. And the first mechanism is hedonic adaptation, and it's the foundation that the entire trap is built on. Hedonic adaptation is the human brain's tendency to normalize any new experience within a short period of time, typically a few weeks to a few months. The upgrade that felt luxurious at purchase becomes the standard you expect, and then becomes the floor you're unwilling to fall below. When you moved from a studio to a one-bedroom apartment, the one bedroom felt like a significant quality of life improvement for about 2 months. Then it just became home. The feeling of luxury faded, but the higher rent stayed. And when the lease came up, moving back to the studio was off the table because the one bedroom had become the baseline. This is how the upgrade trap works at its most basic level. Upgrades are permanent in cost, temporary in satisfaction. You pay the elevated price forever. The elevated enjoyment lasts until your brain normalizes it, which happens faster than almost anyone expects. The trap is that you're always one step behind your own adaptation. The neuroscience behind hedonic adaptation is worth understanding, because knowing the mechanism makes it easier to counteract. When you experience something new and pleasurable, your brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and motivation. But the dopamine response is strongest to novelty and contrast, and once the new experience becomes familiar, the dopamine response diminishes. This is not a bug. It is a feature. It is what allowed human beings to keep striving rather than becoming permanently satisfied with any single achievement. In a financial context, this means the brain is literally designed to make every upgrade feel temporary and to keep generating motivation toward the next one. You are not weak for wanting more after an upgrade. You are neurologically normal. The trap is that spending does not reset when dopamine does. The second mechanism is the Diderot Effect, which is less well known than hedonic adaptation, but equally destructive. The Diderot Effect describes the chain reaction of upgrades that a single new purchase can trigger. You buy a high-end sofa. Now the coffee table looks cheap in comparison. You replace it. Now the rug looks wrong. You replace that. Now the curtains look dated. What started as a single purchase decision has cascaded into a complete renovation of the living room and then the rest of the apartment, because each new item raises the standard against which everything around it is measured. The same effect applies at larger scales. You get a new car. Now the apartment neighborhood feels inconsistent with the car. You upgrade the apartment. Now the wardrobe feels out of place. You upgrade the wardrobe. Each individual decision was defensible. The chain of decisions was financially damaging. Here's the banana version of the Diderot Effect, because I think it makes the mechanism more visceral. Imagine you get one really premium banana, the kind that's perfectly ripe, perfectly sweet, no blemishes whatsoever. After eating it, every other banana in the stash looks like a downgrade. The ordinary bananas you were perfectly happy with last week now feel inadequate. You start sourcing only premium bananas. The cost of maintaining the stash triples, but the bananas are objectively similar to what you had before. You just can't unknow what the premium version felt like. That's the Diderot Effect. One upgrade recalibrates the standard for everything around it. The third mechanism is social comparison, and it's gotten dramatically more powerful in the era of social media. Humans are deeply wired to calibrate their own status relative to the people around them. In a pre-social media environment, that calibration was limited to your immediate social circle, your colleagues, your neighbors, your family. Now it's unlimited. Your reference group for lifestyle comparison is not your 15 closest contacts. It's the curated highlight reel of thousands of people, all showing the best version of their financial life while hiding the debt, the stress, and the reality underneath it. The result is that the perceived standard of living you feel you need to match has escalated dramatically, while the comparison group you're measuring against is not representative of any realistic peer group. Someone earning $90,000 a year is comparing their lifestyle to people who appear to be living on $200,000, many of whom are actually doing so with significant debt. The comparison produces a persistent feeling of falling behind that more income doesn't resolve because the reference group scales with income. The financial data on social comparison spending is striking. Studies consistently show that people in neighborhoods with higher average incomes spend a greater percentage of their own income on visible status goods, even when their absolute income is lower. The same pattern applies online. Exposure to aspirational content on social media is directly correlated with increased spending on appearance-related categories: clothing, dining, travel, and home goods. A person who spends 45 minutes per day on social media is statistically likely to spend more on lifestyle goods than an identical earner who avoids it, not because of any difference in values or intentions, but because the comparison environment shapes what feels normal and necessary. Managing who you follow and what content you consume is a legitimate financial strategy with real dollar consequences. The fourth mechanism is the one that makes the trap most financially durable: the upgrade to obligation pipeline. Some lifestyle upgrades are one-time purchases. Others become permanent recurring obligations. A higher mortgage payment, a car payment on the upgraded vehicle, the premium subscription tier instead of the standard one, the private school tuition, the gym membership in the nicer facility. These recurring obligations are the steel cables of the golden handcuff. The initial pleasure fades, according to hedonic adaptation. The monthly bill does not. And once a recurring obligation is locked in, it becomes nearly impossible to remove without a significant lifestyle disruption, because reducing it feels like a demotion rather than a neutral financial adjustment. If you've made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe to Monkey Money. It genuinely helps us keep making content like this, and we really appreciate every one of you. Now let's talk about the signs that you're already in the trap, because most people who are in it don't recognize it from the inside. Sign number 1. Your salary has increased meaningfully over the last 3 to 5 years, and your savings balance has not. If you were saving $500 a month on a $60,000 income, and you're saving $500 a month on an $85,000 income, the lifestyle has consumed the entire raise. The number that matters is not the income. It's the gap between income and outflow. Sign number 2. You've become dependent on your current income level just to maintain your current baseline. Golden handcuffs, as we've discussed before on this channel, are the lifestyle obligations that have restructured themselves around your current income level in ways that make it nearly impossible to take a step back voluntarily. A job you don't like becomes untouchable because the mortgage requires the income. A career pivot you want to make becomes impossible because the lifestyle costs won't survive the income transition. The income is no longer just paying for your life, it's trapping you in it. Sign number 3. You're using credit for lifestyle spending despite an income that should make credit unnecessary. This is the most direct financial signal that the lifestyle has exceeded the income. When a good income is being supplemented by credit to fund a normal month, the lifestyle structure is broken. The income is not too low. The fixed cost floor is too high. It is worth putting a number on what the lifestyle upgrade trap costs over a career, because the long-term figure is more motivating than any individual behavioral description. Consider two people who both receive the same raises over a 20-year career, moving from $55,000 to $110,000 in household income. Person A lets lifestyle inflation consume each raise. Their savings rate stays at roughly 5% throughout, generating approximately $145,000 in invested assets by year 20 at a 7% average return. Person B intercepts each raise with pay yourself first automation, maintaining a 20% savings rate throughout. By year 20, they have approximately $580,000 in invested assets at the same 7% return, same income trajectory, same market. A difference of $435,000 produced entirely by how each raise was handled. That is the real cost of the trap, not the individual purchases, but the compounded opportunity cost of consuming raises rather than investing them. Here is our second banana analogy, and it is specifically about the golden handcuff sign. Imagine a monkey who started with a modest but comfortable stash and kept upgrading his storage operation every time the banana supply increased. First a basic cage, then a reinforced cage, then a climate-controlled facility that required a monthly contract with the banana storage service. The stash got bigger over the years, but so did the storage costs. And then one month the banana supply dipped, and the monkey realized that the storage contract cost nearly as much as the entire stash used to be. He couldn't downgrade without breaking the contract and losing the premium bananas he'd stored there. He was trapped by the very system he'd built to protect his abundance. So, how do you actually break the cycle? The first and most effective intervention is pay yourself first with every raise, before the lifestyle has a chance to restructure around the new income. Here's the specific mechanism. When a raise arrives, the automatic savings transfer goes up before you make any new spending commitments. If the raise produces $400 per month in additional take-home, $200 immediately goes to increasing the automatic investment transfer. The lifestyle gets the other $200. But because you redirected $200 before adjusting any spending, the savings rate increased with the income rather than being absorbed by it. Do this consistently across 3 or 4 raises, and you're building wealth at an accelerating rate, while the lifestyle grows modestly rather than tracking the income exactly. The second intervention is lifestyle lagging, which is the deliberate practice of waiting 6 to 12 months after a raise before making any significant lifestyle upgrade. The waiting period has 2 functions. First, it allows you to demonstrate to yourself that the new income actually improves your savings rate before you spend it. Second, it gives hedonic adaptation time to work in reverse, meaning the current lifestyle stops feeling inadequate and the upgrade stops feeling urgent. Most lifestyle upgrades feel most compelling in the first 30 to 60 days after a raise, when the contrast between the old income and the new income is freshest. After 6 months, many of those upgrades feel less necessary, and some feel completely optional. The waiting period is not deprivation, it's just giving your brain time to recalibrate before your spending does. The psychological reason lifestyle lagging works is related to something researchers call the wanting-liking gap. Wanting a thing, anticipating it, building toward it, produces a dopamine response that is often more intense than the experience of actually having it. When you delay an upgrade by 6 months, you extend the wanting phase without triggering the liking phase that leads to hedonic adaptation. The result is that the eventual purchase, if you still make it, is experienced with more genuine satisfaction because the anticipation period extended it. And in many cases, after 6 months, the wanting fades and the upgrade feels less urgent than it did when the raise first arrived. That is hedonic adaptation working in your favor for once. The third intervention is a recurring audit of your fixed costs. Every 6 months, pull your bank statements and categorize every recurring charge. What subscriptions are you paying for that you don't actively use? What services have crept in during the high income period that have since become invisible? What commitments did you make when the income felt abundant that are now structural costs you're maintaining by inertia? The average household that runs this audit for the first time finds $60 to $150 in monthly charges that don't survive deliberate scrutiny. The fourth intervention is the mental reframe. Prioritize net worth over lifestyle. Lifestyle spending is consumption. Net worth is accumulation. Every dollar that goes into a depreciating asset, a discretionary upgrade, or a recurring service produces satisfaction that decays and a financial position that is either flat or declining. Every dollar that goes into an appreciating asset, an investment account, or debt reduction produces a financial position that compounds over time. The lifestyle upgrade trap persists partly because upgrades are visible and net worth is invisible. Your friends can see the new car, they can't see your index fund balance. The social reward for the upgrade is immediate. The financial reward for the investment is deferred by years or decades. Choosing the invisible, deferred reward over the visible, immediate one consistently across dozens of decisions is what separates the people who build real wealth from the people who maintain an expensive lifestyle on an accelerating income. One practical tool for making the invisible visible is a monthly net worth tracking habit. Net worth is simply everything you own minus everything you owe. Tracking it monthly creates the same feedback loop that lifestyle upgrades create, but in the direction that actually builds wealth. When you can see your net worth climbing month over month, the number becomes as motivating as a lifestyle upgrade, and it compounds rather than depreciating. A person who watches their net worth cross $50,000, then $75,000, then $100,000, experiences a sequence of milestone-driven satisfaction that rivals anything a lifestyle upgrade produces. The difference is that the investment milestone is permanent, and it generates more milestones. The lifestyle upgrade produces a temporary satisfaction window and then a permanent higher cost floor. The net worth milestone produces a permanent higher asset base and the motivation to keep going. The upgrade trap is not an inevitable feature of earning more. It's what happens when income growth is unmanaged. It's what happens when the default setting of human psychology, hedonic adaptation, and social comparison are allowed to dictate financial behavior without any deliberate structure pushing back. The structure is straightforward. Automate savings before spending, lag lifestyle upgrades deliberately, audit fixed costs regularly, and keep your eyes on the net worth number rather than the lifestyle number. Do those things consistently, and the raises stop being consumed, they start compounding. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the upgrade you're most tempted to make right now? If this video helped you see the trap more clearly, subscribe to Monkey Money. Every week we break down the financial psychology that explains why earning more doesn't automatically mean building more. See you next video.